gut health and what actually this gut does for us. Okay. Now, the very important word in every living organism life is energy. So every living organism needs energy to carry out their vital processes required in the body. And where do we get that energy from actually? So we get that energy from the food that we eat, but the food that we are intaking, it is not readily in form of the nutrients which can be used by our body as energy. So our body has to break down those substances into a simple soluble form, which can be then absorbed as nutrients, and then it can help to carry out the vital processes, right? So looking at all the points here, we can basically divide the function of a gut into three major portions. First is the digestion and the nutrition absorption of our body, which also helps in then regulating the metabolic activity of our body. Third is like after this nutrition is absorbed, then how does it affect our body by releasing the energy and our mood levels and our overall health of our body. And the third part we can see is the result of these activities on the exterior of our body in terms of weight management or a person's immunity to fight against the various diseases or food intolerances or allergies. Okay, so now let's see one by one for these points. So we all know that the process of digestion, it starts really from the mouth. So whenever we are intaking the food, we break down it, we chew it, and then it starts mixing up with the saliva, and the process of digestion starts. Again, when it goes to the stomach, there also it is mixed up with various digestive enzymes, and the process of breakdown of that food continues. But the breakdown of this food which takes place in the mouth or in the stomach, they basically break down the softer parts of the body, like or the components, you can say, like for example the fats or proteins. But the gut actually does all the hard work of digesting the fiber, and it also helps in the proper absorption of these nutrients, whatever is being from the digested food that we have. So it helps in the proper absorption of the nutrients like the vitamins, minerals, and most importantly, water. Okay, and this factor actually um, impacts the overall metabolism of our body. And metabolism is nothing but the how fast our body can change the food that we intake into a usable energy form. Okay, so that's what is metabolism. Now there is a very important function of gut, that is the gut barrier function. So the lining of the gut is such that it only allows the absorption of the nutrients into the bloodstream, and it prevents the entry of harmful substances. So this indirectly helps in the building up the immunity system of our body. Okay. Now, let's see the second part, that is energy. Now, we all know that the gut is known as the second brain of the body. Now, why do we call it so? Because the gut and the brain, they are interconnected through a bidirectional communication pathway, okay, which is also called as the gut-brain axis. And our body uses this communication channel to exchange various kind of neural, hormonal, and immunity signals between the gut and the brain. And these signals that are interchanged, this affects the various aspects of our body, like the feeling of hunger or the feeling of fullness. So if these signals indicate how hungry we are or how full we are, that means it also regulates the appetite of a function of a person, right? How hungry are we feeling, when are we feeling full, like that. Okay. And when we are like if these all uh, communication between the gut and the brain takes place properly, then an optimal hormonal imbalance is also maintained in our body, right? Because when we are taking proper food and a proper amount of energy is released, then it helps our body to produce the hormones in the required levels. Okay, and these hormones are basically created by the gut microbiota that is there, and an imbalance in these gut microbiota, that is the gut bacteria we are talking about, the good bacteria or the bad bacteria, that it can actually interfere or you know um, influence the type of communication that takes place between the gut and the brain. And if there are a lot number of bad bacteria in our gut, then it can affect the feelings of hunger or fullness we are having, and it can also affect the energy levels, or how energetic we feel or how focused we are. So it can affect our overall mental health and our emotional well-being as well. Okay, so now let's see, these are all the background things that takes place in our body. We cannot really see the digestion or the absorption or the energy levels and how these things takes place. But what we can actually see as a result of these internal processes in our body is the immunity system, or the signs of immunity that our body shows on the exterior. Now, first thing is about the immunity level of our body is the gut barrier function that we learned about previously. So what happens is the lining of the gut, it will only allow the useful nutrients to enter the bloodstream. Okay, and it inhibits the entry of the foreign particles, or any bacteria or any kind of pathogens that goes into our body with the food that we are intaking. So it prevents them from entering into the bloodstream. Now, what will happen if these things actually enter the bloodstream of our body? So you see, for example, you see some acne marks, right? Or suppose a mosquito bites. What happens? The first response that our body shows is that that area gets inflamed. Okay. Now that is just one mosquito bite or just one acne. But think about the kind of food we are intaking. That is so much, is undergoing through so much of adulteration, and so much of chemicals are being added, to cater to the needs of the growing population. So what happens is, when those kind of foreign particles enter our bloodstream due to poor gut health, what will happen is they enter our bloodstream, and if it is distributed throughout our body, then you can see a lot of inflammation on your skin, right? And that is what we also term as allergies, right? When we are seeing a lot of inflammation in our body, what is that? That's allergy, right? So this gut barrier function which we are talking about is the when we have a poor gut, this ability of the gut to stop the foreign particles from entering our bloodstream is decreased. Okay, and it has higher chances of these kind of allergy intolerances. And when we are avoiding such kind of allergic reactions of our body for a long period of time, it can also lead to many chronic disorders and many harmful diseases. Okay, now let's see, how does it impact the weight management of our body. So to understand that, let's understand like what is the weight comprised of. So the weight of a person is coming from the fat, right? Fat stored in our body, or it is the muscles, or it is the bones, right? Now think about if the gut barrier is poor, and we are not able to absorb the essential nutrients like calcium or vitamin D, which is essential to give strength to our bones, what will happen? The bones will become weak of a person, and the bone density will also decrease. Or some other essential nutrients which are helping the protein to build our muscles, if that is not properly absorbed, then what will happen? The person will become lean and thin, right? And that leads to your weight loss, right? Another, if we see at the another part is like, say suppose, we also talked about the communication of cues between the gut and the brain, like when we are feeling hungry or when we are feeling full. So if that communication is not working properly and we keep on overeating, so what will our body do with that excess food that we are intaking? It will store it in different parts as fat, right? And what will it do? It will result in weight gain. So that is how the gut health can also, gut health and the nutrient that we are absorbing through that gut into our bloodstream or into our body, that affects the weight of any person. Okay.